In this video, I am going to attempt to provide you with a few ways that you can fix a sloping concrete stairway. This would be a stairway that might be sloping to the right, something that might need to be lifted up. And of course, you can use the example to lift the entire stairway up if you need to. But at the same time, I also want to give you some ideas, kind of show you how it might be built, and which will help you determine on which method you're going to use or if you'll even bother. Now, first up, this is going to be kind of uncommon, where you're just going to have a concrete step and then a concrete deck, but it still is common. So I wanted to show you this one here. This right here would be two separate concrete components. And of course, if you were going to lift it, you'd probably have to lift one at a time, or if it appeared to be solid, you might have to lift it together, but you're going to have to be a little more careful. Otherwise, it could crack right here. Now, here's another method. This is going to be more common. Something like this, you're going to have a step. The concrete is going to go up at an angle. And then, of course, you're going to have rebar inside of it. So the rebar is what's going to make it strong and allow you to lift that thing up. Here's a view of it here, like an X-ray. It's going to allow you to lift it up without breaking it, I should say, hopefully, or give you a better chance. If you don't have any rebar in there, you could actually lift. If you're going to be raising one end, you could actually crack it in half. I have seen that happen before. So this would be one piece of concrete. And if it is sagging to one side, I think I'm probably a little over dramatic here, then there will be a possibility that you can simply dig a couple of holes or a long hole on the side of it, kind of just a trench under it here. Something to where you can put some type of a jack, hydraulic jack, screw jack, something that's probably going to have to sit on a block of wood. Now let's look at it with a cutaway view, give us a better idea how the jacks would be positioned here. Now I do need to point out, and this is very important, that if you're raising this up and the stairway is not moving, then you might need to walk away from it. Sometimes these stairs can kind of like suction themselves to the soil. And I know that sounds weird, but sometimes if you can put a little pressure on it. So what I would suggest, if it's not moving, you're raising it up, it's not moving, then raise it up a little bit, walk away from it, come back in an hour, maybe put a little more pressure on it. It's not going to be uncommon. I've seen this happen plenty of times where you raise it and it just doesn't want to come separate from the soil. And you let it set for a while, and it might take 15 minutes, it might take a half hour, an hour, but it'll kind of like snap up, and you could actually hear it. I've heard this stuff move before when it does kind of pop up. So again, put some pressure on it. If it's not moving, you could have more problems than what I suggested. Maybe your jacks aren't strong enough. Maybe you're forcing the blocks into the soil. This could be other problems, but just don't keep jacking it up without an understanding that you could break it, or you could be putting pressure on it. And I'm not suggesting that you can't jack this up and put enough pressure on it, pop it, and it won't crack at all. But of course, I have seen quite a few of these things crack when putting pressure on it, especially a sidewalk. So I'm not going to suggest I saw this happen to a stairway like this. Did see it happen to a sidewalk. Like I said, do this slowly. Now you might want to raise this a little higher, and I don't get carried away on it, because sometimes you're going to put something like this together, you're going to shove dirt underneath it or whatever fill materials you're going to use, and then it will settle down a 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch. So you might want to raise this a 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. You might not want to backfill all of these holes yet. Maybe wait a couple of weeks and see if this settles down. I mean, the worst thing you're going to want to have to do is go through all this, backfill all these holes, and then find out that this thing settled a 1/2 inch or something like that. So just something else I'm throwing out there. And back to this one here, like I said, this could be two separate ones, difficult to raise. Now, if it's two solid pieces of concrete, this is going to be great because you're going to be able to move something that's 7 inches thick by 12 inches wide, 36 inches long, something like that. But that's probably not going to be the case. You're probably going to be dealing with an area inside of it that isn't solid. It's more common to have something like this where you're not just going to have a solid pour, but again, you might. And not knowing how this is built, whether it's got rebar in it or stuff like that, could lead to replacing the entire stairway. But if you're going to lift it, you got it leaning, it's sloping to a little bit, you lift it, you give it your best shot. If it cracks, if it falls apart, well, then take it apart and re-pour it. Here's another method you could run into where you're going to have more concrete in this area here. And again, something like this without any rebar going through it isn't going to be very strong. Once you start moving it, it could crack it could like crack from here all the way up to here, just a big chunk of it come out. Now let's go ahead and take a look at it on the ground. So something like this, you'd be able to see the soil on the outside, kind of give it away that maybe this is how it would be built. But this is probably more of what you're going to be looking at. You're going to have a concrete surface all the way around your set of stairs, and the bottom of it might look something like this, where this is going to be filled with soil. And when I say that, when they built it, they would have had this area filled with soil or gravel, something like that. You're not going to be able to put soil back in these areas. You're just going to be able to fill soil around the edges. And that just might be enough. If you have rebar and stuff in something like this, it's going to be fine. And again, you're just kind of trying this out. If it doesn't work, if it does start to crack in any spots, then you're going to have to take it out and replace it. What it would look like before you put you formed everything up. And again, this wouldn't be perfectly square. It'd probably be at an angle. And that's what it would look like after. So again, you're going to be able to shove dirt under the bottom of it here. You're going to be able to shove dirt around the perimeter, but you're not going to be able to put it on the top here or something like this. So you will actually have a hollow surface there and could have a hollow sound when you're walking up and down the stairway.